Work with me Wi-Fi. There we are. Deep East Texas Wi-Fi coming through in the clutch. Give a few minutes for you guys to gather up. It is a lovely wintertime Thursday evening. I got my brand new well, you can't really see it, but it says Your Lake Fork Guide. Your Lake Fork Guide hoodie right here, just in. They will be linked in Monday's video, available for sale come Monday. So you guys check that out if you want to get on one of these. We'll have plenty of these to get out to all you fellas. It is really cozy. I love it. I'm happy with it. Once again, I made sure I picked the best material possible. You know you're going to get high-end product when you buy a piece of Your Lake Fork Guide apparel. So that is coming Monday for you guys. What is up? Got some people showing up. Juan Herrera, Tyler Bart, Roy Crush, Lance B, Lane Seaman, a few of the regs, and even some new ones, man. It's good to see all y'all. Oh, we got a big crowd already. Wow. It is a good Thursday evening today. We got a little bit of warming trend going on. The bite's been a little tough this week. Starting to get a little bit better the last couple days. Well, not yesterday. Yesterday was tough. Today, and then hopefully tomorrow, we should start pounding on them pretty good. So all right. Looking forward to the close. There you go. For those of you that are just not getting in, brand new Your Lake Fork Guide hoodie. Says Your Lake Fork Guide down the sleeve. Got the old logo right here. Heather gray color. That is the new hoodie. It will be available for sale Monday. It will be linked in Monday's video. So make sure you guys check that out if you want one. It is awesome hoodie. Awesome. Very cozy. Even has kind of a dry weight material. So if it's just raining a little bit, it'll roll that water right off you. It's nice, boys. Nice. Somebody says, are they starting to push shallow? Well, the way I fish, they're always shallow. one of my fellow jarheads, my fellow devil dog says no olive green. No, we did not go OD green on this sucker. I wore plenty OD green in my day. I don't want to wear it again. I guess we'll go ahead and get started with the top 5 baits, and that ought to tell you if they push shallow or not. So I'll start with the one non-shallow bait, black and blue jig. That's this is the exact jig I'm throwing on my trips. It's getting bit. This is a 1/2 ounce 6 cents Divine hybrid jig. That is a custom pour electric blue smash crawl from Smash Tech Baits right there. If you guys are interested in the electric blue smash crawls, let me know, and we'll see about getting Heath to make a special run of them, because I had him make this color just for me. So I love that color, trailer on a jig. This time of year when the water gets a little dirty, when it's really cold, that's by far my favorite color. And we're fishing that jig in the creek channel bends, of course. Now, chatterbait. Normally I throw wide a lot this time of year, I really do. But here lately, the old school, old black and blue is starting to get a few bites now, okay? So water's gotten a little off color with all the storms we had last week and all the winds that we've had. And of course, when that water's as cold as it has been, it takes longer to clear up, so it's staying dirty. But old black and blue. Now, I will tell you guys, this is an old Z-Man 3/8 ounce chatterbait that I bought that had like a brown and amber skirt on it. I bought it because it had a black head and a gold blade, and it was 3/8 ounce. And then I hand tied my own black and blue skirt on it. I wanted the black and blue skirt with a gold blade. That was the only way I could get it. So that's the one that's been starting to get some bites. But there's nothing wrong with throwing a white one or even a green one or whatever color you want, really. Chatterbait's a good bait to throw right now. Of course, Movement ADX is in top 5 baits, as it will be for at least through February for sure. 6 cents Movement ADX, big fish killer right there. Shad Drone is my favorite color, Movement ADX. 6 cents Quake Thud, one knocker type of a trap. That color right there is called Raven Reactor. That is as you can see, beautiful little goldish, reddish crawfish, not really, kind of a unique color. Sometimes on a fork, just throwing something a little bit different can be the deal. So the thing that I love about this Quake Thud is the hooks. If y'all can get a good look, it's got some nasty hooks. Best hooks I've ever seen on a trap or lipless crankbait by far. That's what we always say about 6 Sense, it comes out of the package, top of the line, ready to go. Great custom paint job, great stock hooks, runs right, rips out of the grass. I mean, this is great little lipless crankbait right here. Very unique sound with that thud series. And number 5, something that we kind of get into every year as we get closer and closer to spring, and on some of these warm days when it's gotten calm and we got a lot of sunshine, they are starting to bite this bait right here. The old 5-inch stick bait. This one right here, got a dog hair on there. This one right here is the Smash Stick. Smash Stick is by far my favorite stick bait I've ever thrown. It is a very, very good stick bait. Catches really big Lake Fork bass each and every pre-spawn in springtime. I personally know last year it caught a couple double digits that I personally know of. It has something in that wiggle on the Smash Stick that he does it right. You know, it's a good, poured one at a time. Well, I don't know the exact process that they do. I know he hand pours a lot of his stuff, but very, very good stick bait. Smash Tech, Smash Stick. And then that's the black and blue. Throwing that in black and blue also. Like I said, we got a lot of areas with dirty water right now. Let's see. Somebody said it seems like all they've been able to catch big ones on is live minnows. There you go. Any patterns or baits you go to on a full moon? No, there's not a pattern, so there's not a bait. I don't change any of my baits, but so on a full moon, what tends to happen is, really for me, the full moon, it just moves fish more. They move more. And this time of year, if they're going to move, 9 times out of 10, they're moving up. They're moving into the creeks. They're moving into the backs. So I may, around a full moon, tend to spend a lot more time towards the back of the creek and not spend as much time fishing the creek channels with my jig. I may go to the backs earlier in the day until that water gets close to 60. When that water gets at 57, 58, 60, now when we have a full moon, you're going to have a major movement to the backs of the creeks, and fish are going to start thinking about spawning. So that's a completely different deal. When it gets up there in the upper end of the 50s, close to 60, the full moon will create a massive movement of fish at that time. Is there a difference between a full or new moon? So the difference for me in the full or new moon is just the volume of the movement. On a full moon, it seems like, to me, more fish move with the full moon than they do with the new moon. It does the same thing. It pulls them in. It does all that same stuff. It gets them active at the right times of day and all that stuff. The full moon seems to have a greater effect than the new moon. Like somebody said, this is like class. Teacher's trying to present a lecture and there's a 3-side conversation going on. There must be a lot of comments happening it must be conversations in the comments I don't know about. All right, let's see. Oh, try to scroll up, see if I missed some questions up here. I know I did. Do I want to sell that chatterbait? Bro, this chatterbait, it would cost you a lot of money because, like I said, this is one of the old Z-Mans that still has the right snap left. I ain't got but just a few of them left. And, man, my customer yesterday, every time he would get hung up on something, he'd be like, no, we're not losing that one. We're not losing. And I'm like, you're right. We're not losing it. We would go fetch it because these things are worth a lot of money. If you wanted them, it would cost you an insane amount of dollars to get it. Everything has its price, but it'd be a high one. No, there's no ice. Somebody asked if there's any ice on Fork. No, we're actually on a warming trend right now. The water temp has been rising the last couple days. Bull shad or S-Waver right now. S-Waver 100%. I can fish it slower. I can pause and it almost suspends. 100% S-Waver over bull shad right now. Well, Z-Man's still making them, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the same head shape. The jackhammer bait that you're talking about is not exactly the same. It's just not. No jerkbait in the top 5. You know what? Jerkbait would probably be in everybody's top 5 except mine. I'm telling you guys, I just cannot build a lot of confidence with a jerkbait. Going into when we talked last week, I had been catching a few fish on jerkbait. Hey, that kind of died for me. I have not been catching any fish on a jerkbait this week, so it's not in the top 5. The new Z-Mans are awful. The new Z-Mans don't waste your money. They're junk. Not only are they not durable and don't break, they won't vibrate at a slow speed, and they don't catch fish. So throw them in the garbage can where they belong. Will fishing one line of fishing rods teach me lessons that fishing a bunch of different rod makers won't teach me? No. I mean, it's all about finding a rod that you can have confidence in and is comfortable and easy for you to use for a given technique. And sometimes that may mean using a different rod manufacturer for a certain technique. If you've got a TFO rod that you love for rattle trap fishing, by God, keep that TFO rod, Me, I have all limit rods, and that's because they're the best rods for the dollar that I've ever found. So if I'm going to represent a company, being in the business that I'm in, I choose to represent one that I can, number one, vouch for their product being quality, and number two, I really love the fact that, like I said, Limit to me is the best value on the market. Their prices are very fair for the quality of rod you get. So I fish all Limit rods. Now, they have enough different size and power combinations that I can get whatever kind of rod for whatever technique I want through Limit, between the 5 Series and the Elite Series both. So that's how I did it. But there's nothing wrong with using multiple brands of rods by any means. No, not at all. Up here in Oklahoma, we're warm, but water was still in the mid to high 30s yesterday. Yeah, it takes it a while, guys. I'm gonna tell you, when you're looking for a warming trim, what you got to look for is the nighttime temperatures, the lows overnight. Whatever your water temp is, so your water temps are in the mid 30s. Well, every time that there is a night where it doesn't get below the mid 30s air temperature, that means you have more than 24 hours of warming cycle. The water is constantly warming for more than 24 hours. Now, if you can get 3 days of that, 4 days of that in a row, that water will climb real quick. It can jump 10, 15 degrees in a few days when it never gets below the water temp for a low. So that's what you look for. When you have those warm nights, that's when the warming trends, that's what we're fixing to have happen. The air temp tonight is going to be basically the same as the water temp. So it's never going to cool off. It's going to keep warming. And then tomorrow night, the air temp is going to be above the water temp. So Saturday, we're going to have some rain, which may mess it up. If it wasn't for that rain Saturday, I'd be like, hey, Saturday, everybody get to Lake Fork. We're going to knock it out the park. The rain Saturday morning may kind of put some cold water in there. It may kind of counteract it a little bit. But still, Saturday should be a really good fishing day in Northeast Texas because we've had a couple days of warming. It'll be the third day of straight warming cycle. What chatterbait do I recommend since the Z-Man is trash? Well, if you can find any of the old Phoenixes, buy those. And if not, then I'll suggest that you go to Lake Fork Tackle, Lake Fork Trophy Lures, and you look on their counter because they got one. I can't tell you the brand name or anything else because there's patent laws and all kinds of stuff. But there's one that you can look around for that it looks a lot like the old Phoenix one, and it's really good. That's the one I'm throwing. What kind of temps am I seeing? Water temps. The highest water temp I could find on Fork at the peak yesterday was 54 degrees in the very back. Now, Main Lake water temps, it's in the mid 40s. But if you look hard enough, you can find some water breaking up up into the 50s in the afternoons. Tomorrow we'll probably see some in the mid 50s, maybe even better than that. I hope we do, because if we do, it's going to be. If we can find some in the upper end of the 50s, we finna catch them, boys. What chatterbait trailers do I use? I use a couple different chatterbait trailers. My main one is this right here, the Live Magic Shad from Lake Fork Trophy Lures. The other one that I do use a lot now, since Heath Taylor kind of converted me, is the Smash Tail and Smash Tail Junior. Really, Smash Tail Junior is the one I like for a trailer on chatterbait. Extreme cold water, I've been really using that Smash Tail Junior a lot. And sometimes I'll just go back and forth and maybe see which one they bite better, because Heath Taylor actually, I always swore by the Live Magic Shad is my only one. But I got taken to school by Heath Taylor one day when I was fishing with him. When I was throwing a chatterbait right beside him, he's throwing a Smash Tail, and I was getting my butt kicked. So I do play with both now. Best time of day to fish this time of year? Typically the afternoon is. But, right now, honestly, the morning bite and the middle of the day bite has been the best. Like, once you get to, 2:30, there hadn't been much of a bite late in the day. It just hadn't happened. You would think that would be the peak, but it hasn't. Really, the morning bite, it's a grind, but you can get some fish to bite. But that middle of the day bite, noon, 1, 2, has kind of been the peak here lately. But as far as this time of year, that can literally change. Like next week it'll be different. The week after that it'll be different. And I think that the peak activity, the peak hours of the day does have a lot to do with moon cycles, in my personal opinion. March 31st through April 3rd, full moon, spawn. Yeah, so somebody's talking about the spawn in March 31st. For my advice, and I'm already fully booked for this time, but if you want to pick the week to come to Lake Fork, it's the first 4 days of April. The first 4 days of April will, without a doubt, in my opinion, be the biggest wave of spawning fish. There will be fish shallow all over the lake from one end to the other, most likely. The first week of April is going to be probably the best week of fishing we have all year. There you go. Frisco, Texas, man, talking about he ordered the Head Smasher paddle tails, and Smash Tech hooked him up with a pack of Smash Tails as well. Because, man, Smash Tech, that's one thing I love about working with them. They are awesome, awesome people. Great people to work with. Willie Allen says he took my advice and has been fishing the Lake Fork Tackle Magic Shad on the chatterbait. It's been working, so good deal, man. I appreciate that love hearing that. What color on the S-Waver? Believe it or not, that stupid yellow trout color is the only S-Waver color that I've ever had in my hands. Whatever that yellow and pink one is, I don't even know what the color's called. Yeah. Well, if you put that snap back on the new Z-Mans, I think they'd go back to being the same old baits that they were when I bought this one. The problem is that other one, I mean, you have to cut it off or something. It's going to be a pain to get it replaced. And then to get these snaps in here, you usually end up bending these snaps to where they're not very good anymore. It's a tough deal, but yeah, if you could get this snap into the new Z-Mans, they would then be like the old Z-Mans and they would catch fish. Somebody asked that question. Sorry I didn't repeat that question. Yeah, light trout, I think that is what that S-Waver is called, light trout. George Lowe is late. It's all right. I'll see you in detention later, George Lowe. Mojo, he's fishing out at Squall tomorrow. Top 5 baits will be similar. Probably not, because Squall's a heated lake. What, I don't know how far along Squall is in their spawn cycle or whatever, but yeah, when you got that much different of a water temperature, it's probably going to affect the techniques. Did I hear the speech from Scuba Steve? No, I did not. Oh, my God. Oh, Timmy Rhodes, that's not right. That is not right, brother. That is a story that I cannot share on YouTube right there. My old tournament partner, Timmy Rhodes, is bringing back some old memories that we cannot talk about in public. Oh, man, you totally knocked me off track. Holy cow. All right, refocus, reset. That was bad. Any advice on fishing a power plant lake like Welsh this weekend? So those fish on the power plant lakes, they tend to spawn during the coldest time of year. So all these cold snaps that we've had last month, those fish should actually have been spawning during those. That's kind of what those power plant lake fish tend to do in my experience. When it reaches the coldest water temps, that's when they spawn, because it never gets too cold to be below spawning temps on those lakes. So they look for the coldest time of year to spawn in. That being said, you'll probably still have some fish spawning. You'll probably have a lot of post-spawn type fish. So think how you normally would fish in May. That's probably how you should be fishing, late April, early May. Whatever you would do that time on a normal lake, that's how you should be approaching those lakes. For Lake Welsh specifically, I know I'll be looking to throw a swim bait. Clear water, a lot of grass. I'll be looking to throw a lot of weedless swim baits. Maybe do some punching. Punching's a big deal in the post-spawn, and punching is a big deal on Lake Welsh because it has so much grass. Frogs, just post-spawn type fishing, swim jig, all that kind of stuff should work. And if nothing else, Lake Welsh has so many fish in it. It has a huge population. You can always throw some weightless plastics in that grass and get some bites on Lake Welsh. Do I ever fish big swim baits on Fort? I ain't telling. Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. Not as much as we used to. Just not, they see a lot of them now, so it's kind of hard. You don't catch near as many fish. Coach Merrick. Coach Merrick. I don't know. No, he was not my baseball coach. Mr. Jimmy Long, Coach Long, was the head baseball coach when I was in Brenham. What is up from the Dakotas going to be at Lake Fork next week? Well, if you don't already have one, LKY Cast. If you don't already have one, I have a map chip with fishing spots selected for this time of year. It's at yourlakeforkguide.com on the Shop My Gear tab. So if you want a little help and want some good fishing spots on a map chip that you can plug into your graph, check that out and get you one, bud. Opinion on T-Rig Baby Brush Hog in mid-March on Fork. Yeah, 100%. 100% yeah. A T-Rig creature bait like a brush hog is great. Yeah, Texas Rig Lizard. There's a lot of Texas Rig in general is very good in the springtime everywhere, really. I hear you guys talking about a certain reel brand, and I'm just not even going to go there because I've said what I needed to say about it, and I don't want to dog anybody. When am I going to come fish in Florida with the rest of us, Shallow Lake? Dude, I want to come to Florida so bad. As soon as I can get some things kind of set up and established here with the rest of my business and get a little time, I fully intend to get down to Florida. Maybe, I would say probably next winter, because I want to come to Florida in the winter when those fish want to think about spawning and stuff. Prime bait during the spawn? Well, I like to do a lot of sight fishing in the spawn. Other than that, as far as like the most consistent day in, day out bait, honestly, you take one of those Smash Tech Smash Sticks and you wacky rig it in let's say a watermelon red color, something like that, any kind of watermelon color, any type of watermelon base with it, whatever flake you prefer. But wacky rig that in the backs of pockets during the spawn, you're going to get bites. You're going to get a lot of bites. Right now, somebody's asking about the map chip. Right now, the only way to get that map chip is to order it through my website. Now, when you come down here, if you will call me, I can meet you at the lake and hand deliver you one. I can do that. That's fine. So just give me a shout. Number's 903-519-1542. You can always rewind a little bit if you didn't catch all that. But give me a call when you get down here if you want one in person. Or you can order it on the yourlakeforkguide.com website. Any tips for Lake Whitney? If anybody's got tips for Lake Whitney, please put them in the comments because I don't even know exactly where Lake Whitney is, honestly. I've never been there. Lose rods and reels. I don't know much about the lose rod. I don't know anything about loose rods. Now, the reels, they have good reels. They have very good reels. I think highly of the lose reels. I will tell you the $50 or $60 Walmart version one, it falls apart bad. But the $100 plus version of lose reels, very good reels. What type of areas do I look for during the spawn? Well, flats, man, flat pockets. Those fish. So the biggest key thing I can tell you there is bass do not like to spawn right next to each other when they don't have to. So I look for areas that don't have steep banks. Steep bank means less area for them to spawn. So I want an area that has a big, broad flat of shallow water. I feel like there'll be more fish that'll use that to spawn than there would be an area that has less shallow water. So I like big, broad, flat bay type areas versus steep creeks, narrow creeks, stuff like that. Now, that being said, there's some steep, narrow creeks on Fork that I go sight fishing in. We catch some big fish out of every year. So some of that is local knowledge, just year after year knowing where the big fish spawn, and that's why you can never replace going out with a guide. But, honestly, if I'm going to a lake and I'm just trying to find some fish, I'm going to look for a big flat area. Sean Allen, he says he's late. You like that hoodie? Once again, for those of you that didn't catch it at the very beginning, this is my brand new hoodie. Your Lake Fork Guide Heather Gray pattern, says it down the sleeve. If you're interested in getting one of these, they'll be available Monday. I'll have it linked in the video. They'll be on my website for sale come Monday evening. What time is detention? That's funny. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Speaking of spawnfish, last year I think there's a typo there. Something about brim pattern baits, going to try white this year. Have I used white in beds? Yeah, I use white in beds all the time. For me, sight fishing is not about the bait or the color of the bait or anything. It's about reading that fish's behavior and getting him to react based on your knowledge of his behavior, and just kind of having a feel for when to push him harder, when to back off of him, when to use a natural color, when to, a lot of different things going to sight fishing. That's why I love it so much. It's a real feel type of situation. But I use white a lot when I'm sight fishing, especially deeper beds, so that I can see the bait. It's not about tricking the fish or the fish like white. It's about me being able to see it. When is Watts coming back to fish? I don't know. Maybe in a couple of days. I don't know. George Lowe, you just noticed the hoodie. Yep, there you go. Brand new hoodie. Appreciate you guys commenting about the hoodie, man. They're awesome, dude. They feel so sweet. They're so comfortable. What is a good bait to use in the winter when the bite is slow? You can get around grass, and that's the grinded out bait. That's the one. When they won't bite nothing else, I like a chatterbait. I always feel, and it's held up for me over the years on Fork, that no matter how tough the bite is, I can always grind out a few bites on a chatterbait in the shallow water as long as I have a little grass. Other than that, it's just the jig, man. Just get that half-ounce jig in as many creek channel bends and get it as near many roots as I can, and just fish it very, very, very slow in those root systems on the creek channel bends with a half-ounce black and blue jig. That's what I do. When I can't get bites any other way, I grind out with those, and I know not only do I have a very good chance of getting some bites no matter how bad the conditions are, but I know when I do get bites on those two baits, it's got a chance to be old big head, because both of those are big fish techniques, 100%. Somebody's asking about price on the hoodies. Honestly, I'm just straight up. I have not broke down my invoice and seen what my cost per hoodie is yet, so I have to actually do the math on that. I will be determining a price, but I will let you guys know Monday on price. It's going to be somewhere in the 70-ish range. That autocorrect's hell, boy. Somebody's griping about autocorrect. I hate autocorrect. It's awful. It runs my life. I have fat fingers, fat hands. See my fat hands? My fat fingers in autocorrect do not get along at all. Shout out from Wisconsin, getting you through the winter. I appreciate you watching, bud. From way up north in Wisconsin. Next time you come to Texas, bring me some cheese, man. I love cheese. I'm a cheese eater. I think the good Lord made two things that are they're only made to go with other things, and they go with anything, and that's cheese and chocolate. You put cheese and chocolate on anything, it makes it better. Maybe bacon. Bacon might be a third. When are frogs going to come into play? That's a very good question. So honestly, Saturday, maybe. When we get these warming trends in the winter and you get a big difference in the water temp in the back of the creek versus the front of the creek, those fish will get so shallow that you actually can't catch them on a buzzbait or a frog, something like that. So off and on could be right now, depending on the day's conditions that you're presented. Now, when it becomes a regular thing for me is usually about mid-March around here. Somebody said chocolate fried bacon. Bro, if somebody starts making chocolate fried bacon, I'm probably going to die of a heart attack in about a month. Just saying. What about North Texas lakes with no grass, timber, and some rocks? So timber and some rocks, that's when I'm going to go. I'm going to lean heavy on my jig this time of year. And Alabama rig is a great thing to throw this time of year when you don't have any grass. Alabama rig can catch those suspending fish and those mid-depth fish that maybe aren't committed to going shallow because they don't have grass, but they're not stuck out deep because they're just doing things differently. But Alabama rig and a jig would be my top two things that I would start with if I went to a lake that had no grass but had rock and timber. Probably maybe go to a little bit more of a finesse jig if it was a real clear water lake. Palestine tournament coming up. Somebody says, hold on, I got kicked out of that one. Hold on. Palestine tournament coming up. Should I hit Kickapoo or stay more mid-lake? Go north, young man. Go to the promised land. The all-time record stringer, the lake record, was caught in January in Kickapoo Creek. So many tournaments in January and February on Palestine are won in Kickapoo or even up the river around Cades, maybe sometimes in Flat. But yeah, go north. Go north. And I'm going to tell you, a big old bladed spinnerbait and a lipless crankbait are handy tools on Lake Palestine this time of year. Also, this same jig right here. The same jig right here can be a big deal too out there. Good lake, good winter lake. Love that lake in the winter. Going fishing tomorrow, debating between a power plant lake or maybe fork. Which one? I mean, that depends on what you're looking for, brother. If you're looking for a safe bet, good day to catch some fish, go to the power plant lake. If you want to go out and try to catch the biggest fish of your life, go to Lake Fork. It's time of year to do it. All right. I think that's going to bring us to the end of the evening. Still got a lot of people stuck with us the whole night, man. You guys are awesome. Y'all are killing it. I can tell everybody's getting ready for spring to get here. Fishing season's right around the corner. But we're out there grinding on them right now, trying to catch some big heads, and we're going to keep after them, and we'll keep letting you know how we go about it. Look for the hoodies come Monday. Appreciate you guys watching. Love each and every one of you. You guys are the best, and we'll see you guys next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.